Best of the West. Man, my mind's going blank here. I'm thinking about Todd Talk, but no, this is Best of the West. With your host, me, Jake, and Stacey, as always. Stacey, how you doing tonight, man?
Well, I was pretty good up until that final buzzer went off in that
Mhm.
Alabama Georgia basketball game, but that's neither here nor there. And we'll talk a little bit about that, obviously, and also some just SEC hoops in general. So excited to be here, and it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about some SEC basketball.
Absolutely. We have a guest coming on here shortly. That's going to talk hoots with us real quick. For most of the majority of the time here, but just my thoughts real quick about this Alabama team. I have said it for a couple weeks now at work. There's a lot of me, and not team oriented players. And like tonight, and it's been an issue. It's been an issue long before Nate Oates has been there. But free throws, I mean, it's a free freaking throw, and we cannot make them for some reason. I mean, that was an
Yeah.
issue again tonight, and it's been an issue before. Like I said, before Nate Oates got there, with Avery Johnson and with Anthony Grant. And I mean, I don't understand that part, but I guess it's a mental thing at that point. But yeah, it's it's kind of tough to talk about. But I mean, this team has a talent because last year's team, I was looking at some stuff before we got on. Last year's team went 1-3 in against AP top 25 poll opponents. This year they're 4-1. I mean, the talent is there to be a top 25 caliber team and to beat top opponents. I mean, we've already beat Gonzaga this year and Houston. I just don't know. It's a mentality thing. I don't know what it is. There's no leadership. It's just falling off the rails right now. It seems like.
Yeah, I think it's a couple things. First of all, I don't think you can you have to remember this team doesn't have Herb Jones right now. And I seen
Hmm.
something the other day that they gave a power rankings of impact rookies in the NBA, and Herb Jones is number 4 on that list.
Yeah,
So this team is minus maybe a top 5 defender in all of basketball, regardless if that's college or professional. He's one of the best defenders there is in on the planet right now. So
yeah.
that's a key piece missing. Josh Primo is no longer there, a
Hmm.
big 6'5", 6'6" wing player that can defend and shoot. So that is a big loss too. But for this year's team, like you said, there's a lack of leadership. There's a lack of competitive spirit where they just do not want to put put the effort in that needs to be put in. So it's just really frustrating to watch when you know the talent is there.
Absolutely, and it's real frustrating, like you said, especially to see what our friends down a little bit south is doing right now. And you know they have a great team. Auburn is looks like they're probably going to run away in the SEC this year. Jabari Smith probably going to be the number one pick in the draft this year. I mean, that kid is a stud. They have another big inside. I think his name is Corey Kessler. I mean, those two guys, dominate the, under the rim. And that's something that Alabama has not done yet this year is be dominant under the rim. And, since this ain't Tide Talk, we really can't talk much about Alabama. But when our guest comes on, we'll move more back into that. But looking over at the SEC, like I said, Auburn looks like they're going to run away with it. And A&M is looking really good. Arkansas is finally getting it going. And SEC in general in basketball is still a top tier, uh, conference. So they're going to make headway, especially in the come tournament time.
Yeah, the SEC is loaded, and that's why it's important to go back to Alabama's perspective that they get their stuff together quick because this
Yeah.
season can turn on them very quickly. They're still 500 in conference play, so they have the opportunity,
Hmm.
and it's right in front of them, Jake. They play the two best teams in the SEC here in a couple days. So I mean, they have Baylor first, then they go to Auburn, then they have Kentucky. So they have a chance to correct all that has been wronged the last few weeks
Yeah.
And so the season's still out in front of them. It's looking a little bleak right now, but there's still a lot that they can prove on. And with that, we're going to go ahead and bring Layne in. He's our
Hmm.
he's our guest tonight from Roll Tide Wire. He's going to obviously talk a little bit more about this Alabama basketball team, and also about just the SEC hoops in general and what he's seeing from for some of these teams around the Southeastern Conference. What's up, Layne?
Hey guys, how we doing?
Man, we're great.
Doing good. How you tonight after that? I guess embarrassing loss. What else can you call it?
Well, not doing great. I'm coping in my own ways. just I'm just hoping we get this figured out soon.
Yeah, talk about what you've seen in this team this year. I told Stacey before you come on. To me, there's a lot of me's and not a lot of team oriented players, and of course the free throw issue. It's been going on for a while at Alabama, even before Nate Oates. It's a free throw, and we just can't make them for some reason. What do you see is the biggest issue right now on the team?
I I agree with you guys. I don't think there's anybody that's willing to step up into a firm leadership role.
Hmm.
And I feel like the turnovers that we commit are avoidable.
Yeah.
So it's just frustrating to see it continue to happen week after week, game after game. I don't have many words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it becomes frustrating to watch when you see a team that is full of talent like Alabama, and they're not really living up to that type of talent because they're not really focused on the right things. It doesn't seem like I mentioned a few minutes ago, the competitive spirit's not there. They're continually out hustled, and that's just a reflection of leadership, not so much from the coaching staff, because I believe the coaching staff is tough on the players, but at some point, and we talked about it during the football season, that at some point in time, leadership within that locker room, within the players, is going to have to step up. And you saw that with Bryce Young and Will Anderson Jr. Is anybody going to, take the bull by the horn here on the basketball team and kind of take over and say, look, guys, this is what we got to do to make sure we get out of this rut and perform up to our capabilities?
I'm really hoping that JD Davison, honestly, I'm hoping that he can get to where I know that he can be. The only thing he really needs to polish up is taking his shot when he sees it.
Hmm.
I mean, that's very important. He's had so many wide open shots that he just turns down because he doesn't trust his shot.
Right.
And I'm hoping that he can be the guy because he can pass dimes like
Oh,
crazy. I
yeah.
mean, he's probably the best passer on the team.
Yeah.
If he can get in the rhythm that I know that he can get into, I think that he can be the guy. But also Javon Quinterly, we've seen the kind of guy he is. We know
Hmm.
what he's capable of. I think he can. I think he can also be that guy that's going to give us a really big boost when we need it. I don't think we're done. This is a very embarrassing loss, but I think we can recover.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
what I try to. It's important for everybody to remember the SEC schedule is really about halfway. We're just halfway through it, so there's a long way to go, and a lot can happen over the next few weeks to change the narrative about a basketball team. So, I mean, you look at it. I know Auburn was tied with Missouri at half. I mean, and
Yeah.
they're the number one team in the country. Anything can happen in basketball. I don't know what's going on right now in the game, but uh, anything can happen. It's just one game. I know it's been kind of frustrating for Alabama fans, but just stick it out. I think we have the right man coaching the team, and it's just about finding the right guys on the floor at the same time to kind of. It's just like they're in a slump. I don't know. I don't know what they need to kind of get a shot in the arm, but I'm with you, Layne. I would like to see JD be more assertive on the offensive end of the floor. And I would like for Quinterly. Quinterly's just in a slump right now shooting. That's just, I
Yes.
mean, if he could get out of that slump from the 3-point range, it would really open up the floor for him and then also the other players on the court. So, but we've kind of talked about Alabama enough. This is supposed to be an all SEC show.
Yeah.
Layne, I want to get your expertise on this. You follow the SEC closely, especially on the basketball side. Unfortunately for us three, we're all Alabama fans, and Auburn is the number one team in the country. I don't really think you can argue the fact that they're not at this point in time. But what makes this Auburn team so good?
Uh, well, their post play is magnificent. I
Yeah.
mean, the way they get their bigs involved inside, offensively and defensively, is it's extremely impressive. Uh, and that's hard for me to say that
Yeah.
Auburn impresses me in one fashion or another, but it's true. Their guards know where to move the ball to. They have superb ball movement. You know, their ball reversals. They run that stuff all the time, and it's just perfected just
Yeah,
about.
it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I told Stacey before you jumped in that Jabari Smith looks like he's probably going to be the number one player drafted, in the NBA draft this year. I mean, that kid is a stud. You was talking about post play. And they also have like I think he's like 7'1", 7'2", Kessler down low. I mean, like you said, their post play is outstanding right now. And their guards, they don't commit, turnovers. And it's kind of tough to watch Auburn and see what Alabama's doing, all the things that Auburn's doing that we have the ability to do. We're just not doing it right now.
Yeah. Quick update. I know you said they don't turn the ball over, but I can tell you they are doing a ton of that right now against
Yeah.
Missouri.
Yeah.
They've turned it over so many times, and they're actually down by 1 in the second half. So.
Yeah, it's 39-38. About 13 minutes left to go in the game. So keep an eye on that. That could be an upset tonight.
Missouri's magic continues in Columbia.
Yeah.
Old Martin's a good coach, and there was a lot of talk about him, them wanting to get rid of him earlier this year, and there was even a fake report out that they had fired him. But
Yeah.
I think he's a really solid coach. Just for whatever reason, the talent isn't there right now in Missouri, but he gets the most out of really what he has.
Oh yeah. Every game.
Look, we know that Auburn is the top team in the SEC lane, and then it's Kentucky, obviously. But how do you see the remainder of this outside of those two teams? I think right now it's really a 2-team league at the top, and then it's really about probably 8 other teams that are really battling for that second tier. Where would you? How do you kind of see that the SEC finishing up this year? It seems like it's pretty wide open after Auburn and Kentucky.
Yeah, to begin the season, obviously, we knew that Kentucky would be good. We thought that Tennessee would be better than what they have been. But the surprise to me, and I know they haven't played much of a tough schedule so far, but Texas A&M is, they're actually doing way better than I thought they would at this point.
Yeah, they're 15-4, I think, on the year right now.
Yeah,
right.
they're sitting at 4-2 in SEC play, 15-4 overall. Obviously, Buzz Williams is a good coach. We know what he done in his previous stops, but just when it's all said and done, Layne, how do you think the SEC standings, end up? Doesn't the top 4 teams receive first round buys in the SEC tournament? Who do you think those top 4 teams will be?
Okay, I'm gonna go with Auburn.
Yeah,
they're probably gonna be the number 1 overall. I don't see anybody usurping them, with how they're playing right now. Anyways, number 2, I'd still have to go with Kentucky, just because Severe Wheeler, and Ty. These guys are dang near unstoppable. After that, though. Like you guys said, it's pretty much wide open. Like, I'd like to think that Arkansas can get back in the mix eventually. They're definitely not playing as well as they could be. But we'll say 3. We'll say 3 is going to be. I really don't know, guys.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now, and I'll be honest with you. If a lot's going to be decided over the next couple of weeks, especially looking at from an Alabama fan's perspective. If Alabama can get 1 out of the 2 against Auburn and Kentucky, I think that's going to go a long way into how they finish out this regular season. And they're still right there in the mix because, like you said, Arkansas is struggling, Tennessee struggling, LSU is struggling. So there's really, besides Kentucky and Auburn, there's no sure thing in the SEC right now. So I think it's wide open. I think the 3 and 4 spots are going to be wide open, up until the final weekend of the SEC regular
Yeah,
season.
I agree with that 100%.
I agree too. I think Alabama can definitely get back in there with, like you said, if we beat Auburn, I think that can get us into a whole new peak. I'd like to think that we didn't peak in December, but
Right, right.
as you said, we're not talking about just Alabama here. So I'll say that Tennessee can still be in the mix for 3-4. Arkansas, Mississippi State's looking pretty good this season, but
Yeah,
how far can that go?
right. And I'll say this: the good thing about, I know we're trying to stay away, but look, it's our show. So I mean, if we want to talk about Alabama, we'll talk about Alabama.
Mhm.
But Alabama's loss is that they haven't been blown out, even by they wasn't blown out by Auburn. I mean, they've all been really close losses. It's just
Mhm.
it, down the stretch when they need a stop defensively, they can't get it. I feel like Georgia scored either a basket or free throws the last 10 possessions they had in the game, and just Alabama can't get stops down the stretch, and then they turn the ball over down the stretch. It's just about taking care of the basketball and then just playing a little bit better defense when it matters. And if they can do that, you're looking at a completely different team. I mean, if they just have the Georgia and the Missouri games, in the win column, you were probably looking at this season from a totally different perspective right now. So, and it's just that I think that's what makes it so frustrating for Alabama basketball fans, is because it's kind of the same thing almost every year, losing to teams that you really shouldn't lose to.
I mean, it happens to the best of them. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you'll have Duke lose to an occasional Miami every now and then,
Yeah.
just out of thin air. I mean, it happens. We see the tournament where these 15 seeds, 12 seeds all make a run. I mean, it can happen, but what's important in the game of basketball, yeah, that happens a lot, but what you have to be is consistent. So
Yep.
you can lose to the occasional, Georgia, as long as you don't make it a thing that happens often.
Right.
I mean, consistency in this game is key, and I think we can. I think we can get there. I think we can maintain. I think we can get back to being consistent and maintaining that consistency.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is there? Let me ask you this: who would you say is the surprise team in the SEC this season?
Texas A&M thus far. I
Mhm.
mean, I would say Auburn, but I mean, I kind of knew they would be good already with Jabari Smith.
Yeah,
So
I would say Texas A&M on the good side, and maybe Mississippi State. But on the bad side, I would say it's Alabama, Arkansas, and LSU.
Yeah.
I don't think either three of those teams are playing up to their capabilities.
I mean,
definitely LSU.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, Alabama and Arkansas was 1-2 last year, in the SEC standing. So both of them, kind of starting out of the gate, kind of slow. So it's kind of odd to see. But I think Arkansas started out kind of slow last year in the SEC and made a comeback. So like you guys have said, anything can happen, especially in basketball. I mean, it just takes one shot to go down to get everybody fired up and everybody going. And right now, Alabama just cannot get that one shot that they need to get the guys motivated. It seems like.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating, but it's a long season. Just got to hang in there. Anything can happen. If Alabama wins the next 3 games, everybody's going to forget how they feel tonight. So,
Right. Yeah.
That's true.
uh, is there any more? Go ahead, Jake, if you had a question.
I was just going to say, Layne, I was telling Stacey earlier that this team, it's not doom and gloom yet because last year the team went, I think it's 1-3 against AP top 25 teams. This team this year is 4-1 with that only loss being to Auburn. So, I mean, this team has the talent to, be a great team. It just has not come together yet. So, you was talking about, peaking, right now would be a perfect time to peak because it seemed like last year we peaked just a little bit too early to make a deep, run in the tournament. We did get to the Sweet 16, but or the Elite Eight, wasn't it? So
Sweet 16.
yeah. So we had a chance at the Elite Eight, but we fell flat on our face against UCLA. So I think this team has yet to play up to its capability, and it's time. It's time for them to do that.
I agree 100%. I mean, when you go by the net rankings, we've done solid when it comes to quad one. I mean, we're 5-4 in those games. This will be either our third or fourth loss in quad three, though. Maybe our second.
Yeah.
Because I know Georgia wasn't, since it was a road game, they weren't going to be quad four. So we snuck by with that. But
Yeah.
it's still not going to the committee uses. So we got to be very careful that could get away from us and make us look real bad.
Yeah, exactly. My wife Cassidy, she said, "Hey guys," she said, I'm sure her uncle, Layne, if you didn't know, is the high school basketball coach up here at Hartselle." Said,
Awesome.
he could relate to losing a couple of high school basketball games. So but and that is true, Cass. But college is a little bit different.
Well, that's all relative. It's relative to the person
Right.
that's in the situation.
Exactly. So yeah, that's a good point.
But Layne, there was something else I was going to ask you. Right now, like I said, we're right about the halfway point of the SEC season. Who would you say is the SEC Player of the Year right now?
I don't think it's hard to answer that question. I'd probably go with Jabari Smith just because I hate to say it, but he's probably going to be the number one overall draft pick.
If he's not, there's something wrong, dude. That dude is unreal.
He is.
Oh, it's so frustrating, but it's just so true though.
Hey, it's just 1 year though. He's just there 1 year.
That's true. But I mean, what about JD Davison? I mean, what is he going to do? I mean, he's projected by some to go mid first round, but with how he's looked, I don't know.
He's been so inconsistent that he could probably make himself some money by coming back and improving his draft stock, because if he developed an outside shot, I mean, he's a top 10 pick. But without that shot, he's probably, late teens into the 20s. So that's going to be interesting to follow come draft time.
Absolutely.
But I'm not sure his background as far as his family, what his financial situation's like. But if it was my son and he had the chance to come back and make several $1 million just by staying one more year in college to be a higher draft pick and getting more guaranteed money, I don't know. It's easy for me to talk about the decision when I'm not the one making the decision. So
yeah, true.
But yeah, I'm with you. I would go Jabari Smith. He's dominant. He's unbelievable. I mean, he's at his size, his ability to shoot the ball with such ease, and he's just graceful at nearly 7 foot. And what's scary is that dude's just gonna get better and better. In the next in 3 years, that dude is gonna be one of the best players in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I mean that's what's scary. I mean, he's on his way to being in the conversation as one of the better players in all the world.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I mean, you can't teach size, and he's got the size for NBA.
Let's talk about this for a minute. Let's talk about the preseason player of the year, like in terms of some sites like CBS Sports. They had Javon Quinterly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's not really looking up to, that's not looking like it's valid right now. So this is even better though. The SEC preseason coach of the year, Eric Musselman.
Ooh.
And I mean, how is that looking right now? I mean, they're not looking great at all.
No, they're not. Who would you give, SEC coach of the year right now to?
Don't make me say it.
Bruce Pearl, right?
Bruce Pearl.
It'd probably have to be Bruce Pearl
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, he's done a great job. I mean, I don't want to say it, but the truth is what it is. I mean, you got to call a spade, and right now he's the head coach of the best team in college basketball. So, I mean, to not give him the SEC Coach of the Award would kind of be, I mean, why are you even giving the award out?
Yeah.
Right.
But we're going to start to wind things down here. We don't want to keep everybody too long. It is a school night, as the guys at work like to say. It's school night, so we got to get in the bed. But Layne, we appreciate you jumping on with us tonight to talk a little SEC hoops. I know it was mainly focused on Alabama, but that is what it is. If people don't like
it was just a rough night.
If people don't like it, they ain't got to listen to us. I mean,
that's right.
It is what it is.
Real quick, since I'm also a part of the SEC After Dark right here on y'all's conference network, we tend to get off the rails there. So I'm going to get off the rails here a little bit. Layne, since you're here, who's the two teams going to make the Super Bowl this year? You think?
It's probably going to be the Los Angeles Rams, and I really don't want to say the Chiefs, but like you said earlier, spade a spade. So two teams that I really don't want to see win a Super Bowl are probably going to play for it.
What about that halftime show? You looking forward to it?
Oh, man, I'm such a big Eminem fan. And Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. I mean, I had a field day the day they announced that, and I'm going to love that halftime show.
Kendrick Lamar and Mary J. Blige as well. So they got a lot of
I don't
star
care
power.
about Mary J. Blige, but Kendrick Lamar is pretty good.
Yeah. So, Stacey, who do you think it would be?
I'm with Layne. I think it's the Rams and the Chiefs. And I'll be honest with you, I think the Rams are going to win it.
Oh, wow.
I do too. I really was hoping that the Chargers would be the first LA team to win the Super Bowl, but that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not this year.
Well, to me, since I don't have a vested interest in it anymore, besides it's just football, since the Titans I don't know what happened in their game the other day, but
Derrick
to me,
wasn't 100.
Yeah, but to me, I'm probably going to kind of pull for the Rams just because. I mean, look what Matthew Stafford, talking about an SEC guy.
Well,
I mean, he got stuck at Detroit for all them years, and now he's on a
poor
team
guy.
that, yeah,
bless his heart, man.
I know, and now he's on a team that has talent around him, and look what he's done. So, I'm just excited to see that for him because I mean he deserves it because I mean that Detroit team is in shambles.
By the way, let's just talk about and I'm glad Stafford and them won. Really for Stafford because, like you mentioned, him being with the Lions all them years. I mean, he was being wasted away over there.
Yeah,
but what in the world was Tampa Bay doing, blitzing their slot corner who was supposed to be covering Cooper or whatever his name is,
Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp, with 30 seconds left to go in the game and letting him have one-on-one against a strong safety.
And blew by the strong safety.
I mean, why? Why?
That was a Todd Bowles call.
That was.
You'd have to ask him what was up with that.
That was awful. That was awful. I seen a great meme. It was Brady, kind of as Thanos saying, "I am inevitable." And then it's a picture of Cooper Kupp, and he's saying, "And I am Cooper Kupp."
Yeah, that's good,
dude. It was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
Good. Yep. Oh
yeah. Recently, I made the public proclamation, but I'll make the public proclamation now. I, Layne Gerbig, am finally admitting after several years of denial and hatred that Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time.
For y'all don't know, we're in a group chat with Layne, and this has been a heavy topic of conversation for a few years now, and we finally have convinced Layne that Brady is the GOAT. I'm not just a huge Brady fan, but I try to be real about everything, and I mean, the way he is able to, and obviously it's not just him, but for whatever reason, it's always with him as the quarterback. His teams are always right there, and you can never count them out. I mean, they were down 27-3, and probably that game probably should have went to overtime if Tampa Bay's defensive coordinator doesn't decide to run an all-out blitz with 30 seconds left in the game. I mean, seriously. And who's going to – Tampa Bay had all the momentum.
Yeah.
I mean, just nuts. I mean – I don't know how he even brings the team back from 27-3 in one half. I mean, he done it in the Super Bowl against Atlanta a couple years ago, down 28-3, and they come back and win the Super Bowl. It's unbelievable. I can't really explain it. I know it's not just him. He's been a part of some great teams, but there is something to say about a dude that just wins, and he also has fantastic numbers and all that. So it's just crazy, and I don't even know how to put it into words.
What did it for me is watching Aaron Rodgers just get. I mean, he played like crap against the 49ers, right? It was the 49ers, right? Yeah. So, and what is it about 49ers being Aaron Rodgers' kryptonite?
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, another thing I heard with the game coming up this week, the 49ers and the Rams, 49ers have a 6-game winning streak against the Rams right now.
Jeez, are you serious?
Yeah, they have won the last 6 contests against him.
Oh, so gosh. I mean, I may be having to rethink my Rams prediction.
Jimmy G just continues to win as well. I mean,
hey, I'll be honest with you though. When the playoffs started, I thought Buffalo would win the whole thing. I just felt like they were the hot team, and then that crazy overtime rule kind of. I mean, who knows if they would have won anyway? But the fact they didn't even get a chance, man, that sucks. I hate that. I hate that.
They got to do something with that rule. Layne, you brought him up talking about another guy who a lot of people have mentioned him in the GOAT talk as well. But real quick, both of you guys, do you think Aaron Rodgers is in a Packer uniform next year?
Nope.
No.
I don't think he is either. Hey, Titans, y'all need a quarterback. I mean, I have said this. You might sacrifice your future by giving away like 5 first-round picks in the future, but you have a team that's ready to win now. Do you sacrifice and get Aaron Rodgers? I mean, you can win the Super Bowl next year with a quarterback. I mean, you got a good defense. You got Derrick Henry. Who's
how do you lose a game when you sack a quarterback 9 times?
I don't
Good
know.
Grief!
I know.
Poor Joe Burrow, man.
I mean, he got dude, and I know he's an LSU guy, but Joe Burrow is legit, man.
Him and Jamar Chase.
He is an elite quarterback.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of good young quarterbacks in the NFL, and for somehow, best of the West. SEC basketball talk has turned into National Football League talk, but it is what it is. But yeah, there's a lot of young talent at the quarterback position in the NFL. I mean, you look at Justin Herbert, Mac Jones. I've still not given up on Tua for whatever reason. People give up on Tua, and he has like a better record than most anybody does in their first 20 games as a starter. And
we'll see how he does with a new head coach. Like that could be what does him well.
Right.
I don't think it was Florida's fault. It's just that offensive line is garbage.
Well, they have a couple of issues, but I don't think the relationship was that great between Flores and Tagovailoa for whatever reason. Well, first of all, Flores is like obsessed with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
And once that could not happen, he kind of got butt hurt, I think. And I mean, I try to keep it real.
There's got to be something.
Right. I mean, Tua's got talent. I mean, the dude is accurate. He throws with great timing and anticipation. He finally got some weapons, with Jalen Waddle. Mike Gesicki's a pretty solid tight end. He's not elite or anything, but he's solid. He's got a couple other solid wide receivers. They started to find a running game late in the year, which was starting to help them, but they got to get that offensive line shored up. I mean, he gets hit every single time he drops back, and
he does.
If they get that shored up, and if he gets a coach that believes in him, I don't find it too hard to believe that he can find success in the NFL. So,
I agree.
But Mac Jones, I mean, he's, it's weird how much he resembled young Tom Brady in that Patriots offense. It's just crazy. I'm not saying that's where he's going. I'm just saying that the way he manages the game is Tom Brady-esque. It's just literally he takes whatever the defense gives him. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree with that. You know that somebody said about going back to Tua that they question his work ethic, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody should ever question Tua's work ethic
No.
because he probably puts in more work than anybody in that locker room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I forgot who it was, but I'll have to dig it up and I'll send it to you guys later.
All right. Well, Layne, thanks for jumping on tonight. We got a little bit of hoops talk in, and then it took over to the NFL. But thanks for jumping on with us tonight. Anybody got any final words they want to say?
No, I just want to say, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're closing in on the Tide Talk podcast. We're closing in on 500 subscribers.
Yeah.
So make sure you're subscribed to that channel. Make sure you subscribe to all the channels that echo on the Y'all's Conference Network.
Yeah.
It helps all of us out. We have a lot of shows that are echoing. So when you see the Y'all's Conference Network, you're going to see Alabama stuff, Ole Miss stuff, Georgia stuff. So it's just, SEC stuff all around. So make sure you subscribe to all the channels, hit the notification bell, give all the videos a thumbs up, jump in all the comment sections. And, we would greatly appreciate that. It just helps us out, with YouTube's algorithm when you do all those things for us.
Yep. Layne, how can people catch you up on Twitter?
Well, you guys can follow me at Layne. Let me just spell it. It's at LAYNE_G29.
There you go.
And that's on the Twitter.
I've said this before on Todd Talk when you joined us there, but it's a lot better than that last name you had because I could not spell it to save my life.
At Deutsche Bama.
Yeah. So anyway, well, that's going to do it, guys. Tomorrow night, catch me on SEC After Dark. I'm sure shenanigans will fall there. If you watched last week's show, it went way off the rails, just like every show on the Y'all's Conference Network does, it seems like. And then I'm sure Stacey and I will probably bring you a podcast later on this week, Talk podcast. Sometime later on this week, probably Thursday night, Friday night. We'll decide that, and we'll let you guys know. For Jake, Stacey, Layne, this has been Best of the West. And until next time, roll Tide.
Roll Tide, guys.